How about ngayon? Okay pa ba?
Yes po, sir.
Sige. Sige, okay. Let's just start. For the others naman na wala. Let's just give them the recording if ever papasok sila. Kasi last time, I think you were absent. Tama ba?
Yes po, sir.
Oo.
Ano po kasi hindi po kasi sa nakakapagbukas ng Discord sa sa cellphone po kaya wala po kasi ako sa bahay nung nakaraan po.
Mm. That's okay.
Lumipat.
Mm.
Ayun.
Sige. That's okay. Meron namang isa na pumasok last meeting. Tapos ngayon parang it's vice versa. Okay. Sige. With regards to your question, I think gumawa ka ng video project, right? Tapos
Yes
hindi
po.
pa siya na-submit. Uh, Hindi ko pa talaga na figure out last week kung ano yung ipa-project ko sa inyo until the last meeting. I just know na it's video. It's part of cinematography, but the specific part of it is hindi ko na figure out until the last minute. So you have to redo that one. Okay, so for the final midterm project. Anyways, ano pa naman until April 5 or yeah, until April 5 yung submission. Going back lang with what we did last week, we tackled or we discussed the brief history. Wala akong PowerPoint dito, no. We discussed lang the history of films. So basically yung it was the advent of cinematography. Okay, so it started back in 1700s, kung saan na-invent yung photo or yung picture, and then in the late 1700s to the early 1800s, it was the advent of motion picture. Okay, so you have to read this one. This is part of your midterm. Okay, yung films. And then I've posted an exercise 3 which is all about cinematography, relating to the PowerPoint. And then sa last slide, not not sa last slide pala, I mentioned before we ended last meeting na you have to watch dito sa exercise 3. You have to watch the movie You Go. Okay, so if you haven't already, I suggest to watch it because you have an activity until Saturday for this week's module, which is all about the film of Hugo by Martin Scorsese. Okay, this film is all about ano ba? It's all about it's based on a book. Okay, so it tells the story of a boy who lives in a railway station only to become mysterious, okay, curious about his father's automaton, and then pioneering filmmaker Georges Méliès. So essentially, yung si Georges Méliès na yan, he bought the early cinematograph machine from the brothers. The Lumiere brothers had the machine. They invented the machine. Sorry, not invented, pero they had their own prototype of a machine which captures pictures in fast succession, in a fast manner. And then eventually yung machine na yun, it will show those captured images in a spinning hardware, in a spinning machine. Tapos ipo-project niya sa audience or sa harap ng audience. That way, okay, na cinematography, let's see. Okay, this one. Okay, so this is what they use um, to show the film. So it is made of a crank type. Hindi pala ito. Sorry. Ito siya. This is the machine, cinematography. I think
Sir, yan po yung
cinematography.
gamit nilang
Yes.
camera for
For
filming sa
capturing.
Oh,
This exact picture is part of the film You Go. This is Georges Méliès, played by a good actor, a great actor. Si Georges Méliès, he created hundreds of films using that machine, the one he bought from the Lumiere brothers. And then what ended up was, kasi advent pa lang siya ng sorry, 1800s, sorry, 1900s pala, 1900s. And then during that time, it was the advent of the World War II as well. So yun. So parang yung the industry, the early industry of film, it went deep down. Okay. Na wala namang interesado that time eh. Yung mga soldiers that time, they were not interested in any form of entertainment, let alone yung movies. Okay. So parang na-down si George Méliès, and then what he ended up doing was to burn all his 100 films. So yun. That's a summative explanation of what transpired in the film Hugo. So I suggest to download this one somewhere in the internet. Okay? Kung paano kasi andito yung history ng ano eh ng film. Okay? A part of history lang si Georges Méliès. And then he didn't know na meron palang collectors who were interested in his film, and what they ended up doing is that uh, nag-scrap sila. So they scoured a lot of places, a lot of trash bins, a lot of parang undergrounds just to find the remains of George Méliès's films. So parang out of siguro mga 200 ganun, 200 films, parang they recovered 100 of his films. So until now it's being ang tawag nito, it's being preserved yung film na yun because
Sir,
those were yeah,
bali po yung ano, yung Yugo po is parang ano na lang po siya, recreate na lang po ng mga ano, parang history na lang po ni ano, ng ano pangalan nun, yung
ni
ni
Georges
George.
Méliès.
Apo.
Yeah, it's
Okay. Understand.
parang biography of some sort. Kasi hindi naman doon talaga yung focus ng film eh. Yung focus ng film is all about the automaton, all about the father-child thing sa railway station, gan. Medyo side dish na lang yung ano natin, yung history ng film. Yun siya. So basically doon yung parang interested si Hugo eh. Interested siya with the film industry, paano sila nag-capture ng film. He was very interested. So, andun yun. You learn about the history of film there, apart from the PowerPoint given last meeting, yung brief history of films. So, read this one, and then, of course, this one, wala namang kailangan i-submit dito sa Exercise 3, except you have to take the essay, which is all about Hugo. Okay, this is valid up until May 1 at 12 noon. So you may take it now until May 1. However, once you attempt the quiz, it will only be valid for 60 minutes. So once na-open nyo na, 60 minutes lang yung validity natin. So you may not be able to pause that one. So kung magba-brown out, look for a PC or phone real quick, and then reattempt the quiz there para makontinue yung 60 minutes nyo. Okay, so essay lang naman mostly. May isang parang fill in the blank. It's just a question of the title of the movie presented inside Hugo. Okay, so essay lang siya, all about Georges Méliès, all about art, all about yung mga quotes ni Georges Méliès with regards to the industry, the early advent cinematography. Yun siya. Okay? Gets ba? Yun lang.
Yes po,
Yun
sir.
lang yung gagawin nyo for the
Bali
weekend.
sir, yung sa ano po, yung sa midterm project po wala pa po 'yan.
Wala pa. I'll
Or
discuss that one
sige po.
later. After ko
Sige po.
ma-discuss lahat for today. Sige, let's proceed with ano muna, cinematography. I really want to discuss this one eloquently. Yung bang very elaborative. Kung pwede ko siyang ma-extend. Kasi there are a lot of things that we need to touch in terms of filmography. Number one, screenwriting, script writing. You have to learn how to screenwrite. Although personally, I didn't take any major courses with regards to screenwriting. I've taken workshops with regards to it. So I know some basic parts with regards to yung mga juxtaposition, and then the arrangement of the story, and then the screenwriting tools. Dati we used Final Draft, Personally, I've used Final Draft. I just grab a fake copy of the internet, no. Si Final Draft, this is used in the industry, Hollywood. It's a very professional software in terms of writing scripts, movie scripts. Ito yung ginagamit ng ABS-CBN, GMA, even Hollywood films like yung Hangover. I know they were using Final Draft to draft their film scripts. Yung mga big box Hollywood films there, they are all using Final Draft. One alternative for Final Draft, if we can't afford it kasi it's very expensive. I think it's $100 for a subscription monthly.
Sir, pang ano po yun? Pang script po? Yung...
Screenwriting, ano ba? Screenwriting software, yeah. Screenwriting software. Okay. Ayan siya. So, yung Final Draft naman, again, it's very expensive when you buy it. Let's see. Yeah, it's $200 for a copy. $80 for an upgrade, and then if you're a teacher or student, it's $100 for a copy. Basically, ito yung ginagamit sa industry. Okay, so dito na lahat on how to format your film. So just a brief overview with what contains a standard script. Usually at the very first page is your title. Okay, centered title, and then yung font natin it's universal. It's I forgot the font. I forgot the font. Okay. And then the second page of your screenplay will start with a header at the top left. It's standard na it's either int or ext, which stands for interior or exterior respectively. Okay, so int short for interior, ext short for exterior. What this tells the reader kung saan mangyayari yung scene. So, is it exterior? Is it interior? Okay. And then, the second there, standard yung period and then space. And then
Sir, question po, sir.
Yes.
Pag interior po, ibig sabihin nasa loob po
Yes.
ng facility
Correct.
ang scene. Tas
Yes,
pag exterior
correct.
labas. Okay po.
Kasi pwede siyang exterior of Kevin's house. Okay? Pwede din siyang interior of Kevin's house. So, exterior meaning sa labas ng bahay. Yun. Interior could be bedroom of Kevin's house or whatever. And then the time of day, it's leaded ba? Leading. May leading dash tayo before the time of day. So day, night, morning, afternoon, evening. Standard yan. When you use a screenwriting software like Final Draft, or let's see the other one. I've used Celtics before because it was free. I think now hindi na siya free. Hindi ako nag take up ng course with regards to screenwriting, but I've parang na self-learn ko lang siya before because I was really interested in film. So I've created lots of videos over the years then, pero ano lang for hobby type. So I've studied quite a few scripts before, and I've created a few scripts before then. Yan. So Celtics can be used by professionals. Celtics, I think, is much cheaper than Final Draft. Let's see a Final Draft sample script. Ayan. Just to parang dive lang tayo konti sa pag-screenwrite. Ayan. So, eto siya. At the top is your title. Okay. And then episode number, and then the date of production. Okay. And then you have the
Sir, question
acts.
po.
Yes.
Yung ano po, yung Arrested Development, yan po yung title ng film po,
Yes,
or
yes.
nung scene na yon, nung scene lang po.
Pwede
Or mismo.
siyang title ng film dash the scene itself. And then episode number. Yung sa top natin, it's not standardized, so you could write anything here. But usually ang meron lang sa top is yung page number. Ganun lang. It's just to remind
Tapos,
you that
sir, sige po.
ano yun?
Tapos sir, yung sa ano naman po, yung episode naman po is kung pang ilang take po siya, or
Hindi. Episode number talaga. So if you're creating a season,
series.
sorry,
Okay po.
series pala. You might want to include the episode number or the season number, Ganon. And then the production date, kung kailan yung estimate production date, and then the page number. But
Ano po?
usually, what we do here is just the page number kasi yung title nasa front naman ng document. Ganon siya. And then you have the acts or ang iba scene, scene 1, scene 2, ang iba act 1, act 2, depending on the story. Depends on kung ano yung ginagawa nyo na story. If it's a short film, it could be act 1, act 2, depending on yung progress, depending on the progression ng film nyo. So, maybe you have the act 3 for the turning point, ganun. And then, you have the conclusion at the last act 5, ganun. So, that depends on you. And then you have the transition. So, etong fade in, this is the transition. It is what editors will reference to kung paano nila i-start yung screen, yung scene or yung act or yung whatever. Okay, ganun siya. So, may bang example dito? Ng transitions. Ayan, sige lang. Wala siyang example dun. So, fade in, and then interior model home, and then pwede namang i-omit yung time of the day if you're not sure. If you want to decide on the set na, ganun siya. And then, usually sa taas, you establish the characters. So, Michael is there with Lindsay and Tobias. Lindsay has several Prada shopping bags with her. So, sa taas na yan, itong kadikit ng interior, same sila ng margin. Okay. That usually sets up the scene. Yan. And then the conversation, it's standardized as well if you're using Final Draft or Celtics. Automatic na pag-enter mo dyan, and then you'll type a character name, it's all capitalized and it's all centered. And then once you click enter na naman, it's automatic na parang ina-assume niya na it's a conversation. So, you just type it. Ganun siya. And then you just press tab. Ganun. So, automatic yun, magfo-format siya by itself. Unlike sa, if siguro it's manual, you make it manual sa Word document or sa Google Docs, it's quite difficult. I think may plug-in for screenwriting software sa Google Docs. I'm not sure. So, yun lang naman. With regards to final draft sample, you have also the different terms like this VO. VO is voiceover. You also have off-screen. Okay? Pag nag-speak yung character nyo, when they voice over the video, okay, you put their VO. It's understood na he will not speak in the scene, but instead he will record it later on. Ganon. You have different acronyms with regarding to screenwriting, with regards to screenwriting. Sige lang. I was thinking, kasi hindi natin na-topic yung screenwriting, maybe we'll touch on it more sa pre-final before we go on. Kasi yung gusto kong, parang naiba yung isip ko, yung gusto kong final project is more towards doing an actual short film, a 10-minute short film. Usually, yung short films natin, just 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, ganun lang naman. And then, you will have to write a screenplay, meaning you have to document it in a screenwriting software via Final Draft or Celtics, or merong iba na free. I've searched kanina, meron pang ibang free screenwriting software. So, maybe that one. I can go that route. And then, incorporate some edited images as well, based on your prelim lessons. So, ganun. We'll combine video and yung picture. And then, sa pre-final, we'll touch on either audio or animation. That will depend. Yan. Okay? Sige, going back. Asan na ba ako? Ayan. So, let's talk about cinematography. Cinematography is the art of visual storytelling. Nagre-record pa ba? So, anyone can set a camera on a tripod, which is true, and hit record. Anyone with a phone, anyone with a camera can hit record, and then, yun na yun. Diba? But, there's a certain artistry aspect of cinematography. So, what directors and what what DOP, kasi meron sa film DOP, which is the director of photography. Yeah, DP. director photography of a film, they are responsible of controlling what the viewer sees or doesn't see and how the image is presented. So it can be attributed to a lot of ways. There could be a control in the camera. So what can you control in the camera? You can control the speed at which you capture the scene. Maybe you can control the lens type of what you will use. Will you use different focal lengths to emphasize different things sa ano nyo, sa film or sa scene? Okay. You also have different movements. You also have different angles, ganun. So there's a certain yun nga attribution of different techniques that all contributes to the artistry of cinematography. So film is a visual. Film is a visual medium, and the best shot films are the one where you can tell what's going on without hearing any of the dialogue. Now this is true. Sabi nila before, your film is useless with uh, if yung sound natin doesn't go as well as the video does. So maybe yung film yung it's captured by $100,000 camera. Okay? Yung lens nyo it's worth $50,000 ganun. But your sound design it falls short of that standard. So hindi quality yung na-hire yung sound designer. Hindi quality yung na-download nyo na music or yung VFX or yung SFX, yung production sound or whatever sound you're in. Maybe yung microphone nyo, it does not record high quality audio or high resolution audio. So, that will contribute to your film ultimately failing. Ganun siya. That's how video and sound harmonizes sa film. So, ganun siya. Parang 50-50. Some nga may argue 60-40. 40% the video, 60% the sound. Because you can have a good film without a good camera but good sound quality. Some may argue. Okay, that depends. Pero I'm on the side leaning on good audio talaga. Kahit na maybe you're viewing a video in YouTube na 360p. Okay, the quality is not that good but the sound quality is there. Very top notch, ganun. So, mas parang mas naaakit yung ano mo, yung emotions mo pag ganun. Parang you are into it. Ganun. Okay? So, yun. The best shot films are the ones where you can tell what's going on without hearing any of the dialogue. With some basic knowledge of composition, you can plan scenes using this visual language. So, basically, form a clear, cohesive narrative. Do not scatter ideas. And then compose each shot in a way that is visually pleasing for the viewer. So, you have to understand these simple rules. I'm gonna present you with the simple rules. This is already uploaded in LMS. Basic rules of composition. Number 1 is the rule of thirds. Rule of thirds, okay? Every camera has this. Every phone has this. Ano ba to? Ano ba yan, sir? Let me show you the second presentation here. Ito siya. So, usually, yung ano natin, yung pinaka ginagawa natin every time when we shoot video or photo is that you have to center the subject, right? So, like this one, you have the girl in the center, dot. Okay, ayan. Or like this one. This is the 3x3 grid available in your phone or your camera. DSLR, point and shoot, mirrorless, phone, whatever you're using. Okay? So, yung instinct natin is to put the subject in the center. It's actually more pleasing to put the subject off to one side. Like this. Okay? So, you have here the subject touching the upper right of the third of the 3x3 grid. Okay, upper right. Ayan. So, yung iba naman, the rule is put the eye, let it intersect with the upper third. Okay, na intersection. Ayan siya. Or put, yung general rule is that just put the subject on the upper third or any of the intersecting lines. So, just put it on the left or the right intersecting line. Ang iba sa baba, depending on your subject and your background. If you want to see more of the background, of course, put your subject some on the bottom intersection lines. You will see that one in films and TVs all the time. Rule of thirds, intersecting line, put the subject in the intersection, like this one. Why? It denotes that there is a certain separation between your subject and your background. It's more natural that way. Kasi pag nasa center siya, it places you in an uneasy position. Parang it's very uneasy. It's not natural to see something in the center. So you have to put it off center in the intersection. So the rule here says that compositions are more pleasing. Sorry. Nag-reload siya. Teka. Ayan. So the rule says that compositions are more pleasing if the subject is placed at one of the intersections of this grid. So this ensures that you have the right amount of headroom. Okay, so pag nasa center, there's too much headroom. Whereas if you think about it, if yung subject niyo nasa intersection, it's parang there's a certain balance with the background and the foreground. Ganun siya. This one, not enough headroom, so don't put your subject too high in the frame, or you will have too little room above their head. It will feel very cramped. Okay, but don't apply this when you take pictures for 1x1 shots, 2x2 shots, ganun. For your ID pictures naman, there's no such thing as rule of thirds. Okay, this only applies to video. Okay, sige, let's go back before we proceed dito. Sige. Ayan. So the rule of thirds creates a nicely balanced frame of the driver on the top left and the wheel on the lower right. Ganun siya. So, sige. As cinematographers, you have to find unique ways to show everyday things. So, observing a scene from the height of your camera operator can get dull. So, one way is to avoid over-reliance on this point of view. So, maybe, some DOPs or director of photography, they use yung hand nila na naka-square lang. Okay? Wala akong ma-demo. Just to parang capture a different perspective. Gusto nila kasi ilagay yung self nila into different perspective. Kasi yung usual perspective natin is just to see things in front. Ganun. Some DPs would try to experiment with different angles, with different kinds of shots. So, for example, if you're filming someone setting down a glass, so usually yung ginagawa natin is just to show the torso up setting the small object on the table. And then, usually ganito lang siya, di ba? Parang hull. Okay. Some DPs will have the camera follow the glass. Okay. Until the person will put the glass on the table. Ganun siya. Or, some will follow this one. So, rather than show the person from the torso up, make the glass your subject and position your camera on the table, then watch as a giant drink fills the frame. Ganun. So, just place the camera in the table and then wait for the person to just place the glass on the table. Ganun siya. So, that's an interesting way of thinking of how to have different perspective when you show everyday objects. So, your audience will know that because you took the time to focus on this object, that it must be important. So, one way of parang saying or conveying na this subject is important is because you are focusing on that. Okay? Ando na yung camera from the start and you're just waiting for the person to place the glass on the table. Okay? So, it helps keep the visual element of the story from growing stale. That's what I've been telling from the start, is that you have to keep parang it's part of storytelling. It's part of the visual storytelling. Okay, so rather than imagine the scene taking place on a single plane, for example, here a factory worker has entered his boss's office to ask for a raise. So the subject of the scene, the worker, is in the midground, while the large looming figure of his boss occupies the foreground. Ito. So he has his boss here, and then the middle ground is the subject, and the factory hums along in the background. So you have there the three key elements of the scene, okay? So the foreground, boss, midground, the subject or you, and then the background is the humming factory. So, ano yun? The way you arrange that one is like this. Ganito yung shot. So you have the camera behind the boss, okay, the foreground, and then you have the middle ground, which is you. So parang pa-diagonal yung naging arrangement ng film nyo. So we have the types of shots. So your camera is a surrogate for your audience. Basically, um, they are the ones that makes the audience feel what you want to convey. So how do you want your audience to feel? How do you want them to feel in some genres? Like, do you want them to feel scared? Do you want them to feel disoriented? Okay. So, gusto nyo ba ng serene, off balance, or static? Do you focus on sweeping the grandeur or small details? So, different shots convey different tones to scene. So, moving from long to close shots is a trade-off between showing informative visuals or intimate emotions. Let me start off with the second slide here, the second presentation. Okay, so we have here the variations of different shot types. So we have the basic ones. This is the EWS. Minsan, when we make a storyboard, okay, after you screenwrite, usually you make a storyboard. So we mark the storyboard with the shot type. So you have the extreme wide shot here, which involves yung mga landscape. You have a large background, and then maybe yung subject nyo is very small. This is called an initializer or initiating shot, or ito yung parang introductory shot. So, for example, if you have a scene in your screenwriting screenplay, where it involves interior, okay, and then bedroom, day. Usually, what happens sa actual film nyo is that you establish muna the setting. So, how do you do that one? You capture the house. Ganon siya. So, before you move on sa bedroom, you establish the house. It's understood by the viewer na you are in a house and then you are going inside the bedroom. Ganon. So, that usually is achieved via the EWS or the extreme wide shot. And then you also have the wide shot, medium close up. These are all understandable naman. Medium close up, extreme close up. If you can see, the more closer you get, the more cramped yung parang subject natin. The less details you are involving the shot. So walang mga additional informative details like hanging pictures, ganon. So it does convey or it does denote a certain parang cramped feeling. So maybe if you want to convey tension, ganun, you can do with close-up shots. So shot types help tell a story. So each of this has a purpose. So it will give your documentary more visual interest. And then don't shoot every shot in a long shot. Okay? So wala namang isang scene na parang isang shot lang siya all the way through. There are some exceptions, but again, don't just finish a scene with just one shot. Usually, yung mga director, yung mga DP natin, they are not satisfied with just one type of shot. Medium shot lang yung whole scene. They try to experiment with a few different types of shots. So we have the extreme long shot. We have the different acronym XLS. We know where the people are, but nothing about them. So parang establishing shot siya. The long shot provides context. So we know this is the dancer where she is in the studio. We can still see some details. Close-ups naman are for emphasis. So this one, we can see the boy's expression. We don't know anything about where he is, but we see the emotion in his face very clearly. So usually yung mga ganitong films, they are usually the documentary type. National Geographic documentary make use of close-ups very well. So when you compose a shot, make sure that there is a clear subject. Don't make the viewer guess. There are some exceptions to this one. Again, that depends on what type of film you want to achieve. Teka lang. So, shot composition is much akin to pictures. So, sa prelim, we discuss about color, size, contrast, the placement, the movement in the frame, okay, the line, the shapes. So, all of that contributes to your scene composition. So, this shot, if you can see, there's no focal point. There's no dominant point. There's no emphasis on one particular part of the scene. It is too busy and there's nothing that is directing our attention at the expense of everything else. So when we look at these types of shot, we don't usually know where to look at. Saan naman ginagamit yung mga ganito? They are used when there's chaos, ganun. Okay, pag may chaos, like the movie 2012 or like the movie yung mga ano ba yun? Ano yun? San Andreas. Okay. Usually, yung mga tao na nagra-run, okay, yung tumatakbo sila, those are shots that there's no particular focal point. So what that scene tells you or conveys is just that there are people running, yun lang. Okay, running from an imminent doom, ganun siya. So just making sure that one element sticks out here with color, you can ensure that the viewer is not confused as to what to look at. Second thing, not just the shot, is the camera angle. So it influences how we interpret. So most shots are taken from the eye level. So parang normal na yun. That's the standard. It creates empathy since parang we are looking at it directly in the eyes. However, these are not always the most interesting or dramatic. If you can see some of the films, you can have cameras that are looking up. So parang it's called an ant's view in some. It's called a worm's eye view on some. Okay. And sometimes a camera high but looking down. This is called a bird's eye view naman. Commonly known as a bird's eye view. So, a high camera angle means that the camera itself is low but is looking up. So, parang it makes the subject more dangerous. Okay? More powerful or more imposing. Ganun. Meron siyang parang, there's a certain parang strength involved with that angle. Parang it denotes na may power. And then a low camera angle naman, like the bird's eye view, it makes the subject be weak. So parang wala siya importansya, ganun. Parang powerless yung ano natin, yung subject natin. So like for example, David and Goliath. So if you're creating something of that sort, David and Goliath, maybe you want to empower Goliath with by making the camera angle look up. Okay, the camera is low, it's looking up, ganun. So it's used to convey power. And then you also have David, which you capture from the eye view ni Goliath pababa. So that's a high camera and then low camera angle pababa. Ganun siya. It denotes weakness. So like this one kay Darth Vader and kay Batman and kay Mr. President. Yan. So they are often shot from a low camera angle, again, to denote power. Subjects that are weak or vulnerable are sometimes shot. So here we have Matilda. If you've watched Matilda, this is the library scene. So parang as a viewer, you might think na Matilda is very young, very young, very frail. Okay, yun siya. Very malambot, very weak, ganun. And another scene from a film I don't know. Yan siya. So, high and low camera angles denote different things. Establishing shots. So, it's a good idea to make sure you let your audience know. This is what I've been saying with the house example kanina. Like this one. So, maybe yung nasa script nyo, exterior house day. So, usually ganito yung shot niyan. You have the house here in the foreground. Okay. So, here we know that the action is taking place during the day at a coffee shop. So, here we know that the action is taking place at a large city at night. Okay. So, technical settings. Unless you have done this before and understand the technical issues in film, use the following on your phone or camera. Now, here's where it gets different. Kasi yung recommended dito is 30 or 29.97. Now, film is captured in 24 or 23:97. So I suggest do not use this one. Use 1080p, 720p at the very least kung medyo low-end yung phone. Medyo low-res lang kasi yung mga low-end phone. 720p. And then, of course, adjust the frame rate to 24 or 2397. 23.97. Yun yung setting na gagamitin natin. And then, lastly, we have the lighting. Yung lighting natin, there is a whole parang, kung mag-enroll ka sa film school, there is a whole course just dedicated to lighting. So, you have here the practical and aesthetic types of lights. Ito. So, when you capture your subject and there's not enough light in your subject, usually it's called underexposed image. So, when you see something like this, uy, against the light ka, what happens or what it's generally called is underexposed image. So, you're producing an underexposed image. On the other side of the spectrum naman, if there's too much of the light, it's called overexposure or overexposed image. That way, you can't see your subject clearly. Kasi light, okay? Overexposed, from the word overexposed. So, don't shoot your subject against an open window. Most often than not, it will be underexposed. Yeah. Tripod, we know this one naman. Camera movement, I won't go into detail with the other types. We have a pan, very brief. A pan which moves the camera left and right. So, this is film terms used in the industry. So, when you pan left, when you pan right, that means you move the camera left and right. Okay. We have the zooms. We have different types of zooms as well. Yung mga vertigo type of zooms. The Dutch angle for the angle. Audio, again, is just as important as your video. So, if your audience can hear, again, they will likely lose interest faster than if the video isn't great. So, without a microphone, stay under 6. I'm not sure what 6 is. I think this is the decibel meter. So, under 6 decibels maybe. Ambient noise is the naturally occurring noise that goes in a given space. So, usually when you film something, pay attention to the fans, ventilation, noisy rooms, people, ganon. So, you might want to move somewhere else if that's the deal. Okay? Ito, just a few tips. This is very important. So, when you start a shot, just let the camera run for a few seconds before nagte-taping yung yung mga Hollywood films. Before they take a shot, usually they will run through everything. Like, they will shout, before the director will say, ano yung sinasabi nila? I forgot what they say. Shoot, hindi man shoot. I forgot what they say. Pero before,
Action, sir.
ha?
Parang action.
Ayun, action. How can I forget? Action, okay? Before they start shouting action, merong specific person. I forgot the person, kung ano ba yun, parang assistant to the director. Yung first AD, we have the first AD, second AD. And then, sila yun usually nagko-confirm with the audio, with the video. So, usually they will shout first audio, to start the audio. I forgot the term too. Kung parang start rolling the audio first. Okay. So, let it run 5 to 10 seconds the audio. Next, they will run the video 5 to 10 seconds as well. And then, once the director will shout action, there goes the clapper. Now, the clapper does more than the words that it shows. Okay? Yung clapper na yan, may sound na cue. It will sync up the video footage with the sound. So, madali yung pag-edit ng external sound at saka ng video sound natin. Madali lang pagdikit. That's the use of the clapper. The use naman for the few seconds in, bago mag-start yung action, they usually will take the room sound. There's a formal term sa film when you're taking the room sound or the ambient sound. Merong formal term, I forgot to. Ito yung noise. This is what you call noise, na parang nire-record nila before mag-start. just so they can, ang iba ginagamit nila for noise suppression. Okay, they can suppress the noise inside the room by making use of white noise pala na tinatawag. So they record white noise or the ambient noise, yung wind, yung mga cars, yung traffic, they record all of that before the scene takes place para meron silang baseline for the edit in the post production. Ganon. So, they can cut the noise, they can suppress the noise, they can add background noise. Ganon siya. So, if you are interviewing a person, ask them the question, sorry, and then tell them to count silently to themselves to 5, then answer. It allows you to make more time. Yeah, this is true. I had an interview before in which I had to capture my classmate sa interview. The thing was, it was already scripted, yung answer and yung question. And it made it hard or difficult sa editing. The fact na there were no time in between the response and the question. So parang there was only 1 to 2 second window wherein I could edit the angle and the audio. So yun. This is a good tip. Okay, just ask your the person who your subject is interviewing to, just count off 5 before answering the question. It gives more time for editing, which is true. Legal issues naman, we ano na din, we've encountered this one. Dati kasi meron kaming film, I'll show you later, meron akong sample with the films. We had an issue wherein we had to go to a private, anong tawag nito? Private subdivision ba yung tawag niyan? Like Camellia Homes, yung mga ganyan. They usually have a security guard outside. So, in advance notice, parang 1 week in advance, you have to make sure that they know of what you will be doing prior. So, hindi kayo mag-walk in sa mall, okay, na, sir, we will be filming today, ganun. Wala kayong prior notice. Usually, kasi pag malls, okay, like department stores, or you have scenes involving popular brands, like restaurants, like, or fast food restaurants na McDonald's, Jollibee, you have to inform the manager prior. So, weeks or months in advance that you'll be shooting there, you have to ask for permission. Ganon yun. Sa malls, you have to do the same. You have to ask the management. Kasi, what you are essentially doing is that you are making use of their place. You are capturing the different people. Okay? Parang, you have to have consent in order to show the mall, show kung ano yung mga nasa mall, yung mga things doon that you do not own. Okay? Same thing applies to images you may find on the internet. Usually, when you include that one in the video, you have to gain copyright information from whom it's owned from. Ayun. Okay? So, if you cannot do that one, just include the link maybe or the person kung merong details ng person in your video. So, usually hindi naman sabay. So, may papakita yung picture that comes from Google, okay? Put that one in the credits section. So, editing naman, you can edit using any tool you are familiar with. This may include Windows Movie Maker, which is obsolete at this point, iMovie, Adobe Premiere. I've been using Sony Vegas Pro for like high school. Parang 3 years. For 3 years, I've been using Vegas Pro 11, 12, and 13. Versions 11, 12, and 13. Since then, parang third year high school, I've left Vegas Pro. And now, I've just known na parang na Vegas Pro 18 na pala siya. Vegas Pro 18, it's not really used it's not really used sa industry that much anymore. Pero, sa mga starters, we usually recommend Vegas Pro. I'm really interested sa film kasi ano siya, parang actually it's my first choice eh. First choice of course. Wala lang talaga multimedia at the time sa school. What after third year high school, I started using Premiere, so I transitioned to Premiere. This is used in the industry. So, apart from Apple's Final Cut Pro 10, Logic Pro, yung mga apps suite nila, we have the Adobe counterpart in Windows, Premiere. Okay. What's good about Premiere? It's industry standard. It's an NLE, non-linear video editing platform. And also, there's what you call yung Adobe, what was it? Adobe Bridge. Wherein, yun nga, for example, may isang scene ka na gusto mo i-edit yung picture. Then, just right-click the scene and then export it in Photoshop. Once you're done editing in Photoshop, save mo lang, automatic nagre-reflect sa Premiere. Same goes for the audio. So, if may audio kayong may noise and you want to suppress the noise, right-click, link it with Adobe Audition, fix the audio in Adobe Audition, Control S, save nyo lang, and then go back to Premiere, and it's already edited. Ganun na siya. There's harmony in parang using the whole Adobe suite. All of it you can use. Okay? Vegas and Premiere Pro. Aside from that, you also have, ano pa ba editor? Sa phone, there are a lot of editors. I've never used editor sa phone dedicated for video production before. Any questions?
Sir, wala pa naman, sir.
Wala pa naman. Okay, good. Sige, 9:04. This is uploaded naman sa Elements. So I'm just browsing through it. So how to shoot a basic scene? Number one, yun nga, establishing shot, which is usually a long shot. So again, parang interior Jollibee day shot. Usually you have a long shot there of the Jollibee fast food to establish the entire scene. So it's a wide high angle view of Jollibee, and then maybe dun yun na start yung yung scene with the two people. Okay, ganun. So first, again, don't forget the establishing scene, and then just move in closer to the characters, and then vice versa. Ano pa ba? Sorry. So yun lang for the cinematography part. Teka. Now let's go back sa camera movements. Okay. So with regards to the camera movements, I've uploaded a resource there kung ano yung different camera movements used in films, commonly used in films. You have the push in, you have the pull out, just this one, skim through the video. Okay, these are used in the industry, of course. Usually yung camera, they are on a dolly. So yung may gulong, it's called a dolly. Ang iba naman, they make use of stabilizers to make sure it's stable. Hindi siya, wobbly. You have the zoom, the dolly zoom, andyan naman, camera roll, the tracking shot. Usually, yung tracking shot natin, it involves a dolly. Sorry, hindi dolly, stabilizer. Yung nasa body talaga ng let me search muna. Let me show you a stabilizer. So this is what's commonly used in the industry, yung camera stabilizers. So you can actually buy one for your phone. I think may mga tag 5,000 from the Osmo brand, just to make your shots more stable. You have the kinds where the film, anong tawag nito? Yung mismong nagka-capture, I forgot what they're called. They make use of parang armor. And then may stabilizer equipment sila going in their body. I think may sample dito somewhere, like this one. Eto. Okay? This is very hard to set up and they are very, very expensive. Ito yung ginagamit when the actors are running. So, you can run with this equipment and it will still look stable. Pero, masyado lang siyang hard to set up. Let's see an example. I've watched a video before with it. Asan na yan? Ito. So, this is the Ari Trinity. Ari is a brand. They have cameras din. Ari Alexa, which is used sa Hollywood. Okay. And then, this is their product, the Ari Trinity, which is the most advanced camera stabilizer daw. Let's see if meron ba tayong sample. Yeah. This one is a professional. Alam niya kung paano gumamit ng stabilizer. So, usually yung ano natin dito, parang at the end of the day, ano siya sa likod, it's very heavy sa likod nyo. Kasi lahat naka-anchor sa may neck part and sa back part. Ayan. Okay? So, let me show you muna. Sorry. Saan na yun? Okay, so we're done sa cinematography. What is cinematography, the different camera movements, the different camera angles. You also have the color correction, which is the last topic for midterms. Color correction and color grading. Let's go to the 3-minute mark. Ano yung color correction? So, 'di ba, sa isang scene natin, like when you're capturing sa bahay ng isang scene, you have multiple video files, right? So maybe you have 5 different video files. Not all of them will have the correct exposure. So some of them will be overexposed, some of them will be underexposed. Maybe yung lighting ng isa hindi same ng isang video and you want to use it. So there's this thing that we call color correction. This happens when you edit na. So sa editor nyo na, sa Premiere or sa Vegas Pro or ano yung isa, Avid, I think. So, number 1, you have to correct the exposure. So, this is the color correction workflow. Number 1, i-correct nyo yung exposure. For all the videos, they should have the same exposure. So, exposure is the brightness of your video. And then, number 2, fix the white balance. They should all have the same whitest white. Ganun. And then, third, sorry. Third is adjust the saturation for them to have to be similar. Now, that's color correction. So, yun nga. Gusto natin na they are, maybe kung yung mood nyo is daylight or yung mood nyo is whatever your temperature temperature ng white balance nyo requirement, it should be same across all of your scenes. Okay? Or it should be configured per scene. So, configure that one, adjust the exposure sliders, the contrast sliders, the highlights, the shadows, the whites, and the blacks. Yun. Okay? That's the basic color correction. And then we have what we call naman the color grading. Ano yung color grading? Usually yung color grading natin nowadays, they are made with a different software like Adobe SpeedGrade. You also have DaVinci Resolve. You have people that work as color graders. So like this one, this is DaVinci Resolve. These are used for color grading. So Hollywood's number 1 post-production solution. So it's all about color. Ganun siya. Color. So, yung mga films natin, yung hangover films, they are usually orange. May sample, I'll let you this one, okay? This is called the orange until look. Usually, ginagamit siya sa mga action movies. Orange until, if you can see yung blues, yung hues natin sa likod with regards to the blues, in respect to the blues, They are much saturated, much pronounced. If you kasi sa orange ng face niya, it's much more pronounced than the gray part of his suit, di ba? Ganun. This is the orange until look. Hindi siya na-achieve through color correction. It can be achieved through color grading. Ayan siya. So, this is a scene from Transformers, I think, which is still orange until look. Now, this video, it shows you how to achieve the same effect. So, color grading, essentially, it tries to achieve the film look. So, how do you get your videos to be filmic? May tutorial naman dito. So, this is the result. So, from this one, a very flat image, no? Very dull image to this one. Much more filmic yung naging output natin. So, that's an introduction lang sa color correction and color grading. Again, cinematography, the movements, the angles, the types of shots. Color correction, there are 3 steps sa color correction. Just match the exposure, saturation, and then of course color grade, achieve the filmic look in your project. And then lastly, we have here the midterm project or midterm exam. The important thing is we are storytelling through the visual mean, which is video. So, number 1, I'd like you to construct a 1-sentence film idea. Ano yan, sir? So, for example, ano ba? Siguro, yung isang person, he has trouble of finding way to cope up with everyday things. So, maybe you want to make a video, a short film out of that, kung paano siya nagko-cope. Or maybe you have the topic na sa brain nyo na, I want to make a video all about this pandemic. So, how do you cope up with pandemic? Or how do you get by day to day with the pandemic? Or siguro, meron kayong Rubik's Cube. Maybe you want to make a video out of a Rubik's Cube of how you were able to practice and then you were able to solve it na by your own. Maybe like that. Or siguro
So pwede po yung parang mga tutorial, parang ganun, sir.
Ano yan?
Parang mga tutorial po.
No. Not necessarily. Parang ano lang. Sige lang, I'll show you samples ngayon. Again, yung topic natin, it's kahit anong topic lang. You may think of whatever topic you want. It's not limited to just tutorials. Maybe documentary, maybe horror. Kahit anong genre of your choice. Okay? Just create a 1 to 3 minute video showcasing. Ito yung important. The different cinematography techniques, the angles, the shot compositions, the types. Ayan. Okay? Yun yung different, natin. Yun yung diniscuss ko today. And then you will have to apply that one in your midterm project due until next week, May 5. So, assemble your film. Number 1, of course, assemble nyo yung film nyo. And then, scene by scene for the 1 to 3 minute video. And then, edit it according to your chosen genre. Anong meaning ng edit according to your chosen genre? Number 1, you have to color correct all the scenes. Okay? So, match the exposure, adjust the saturation, adjust the sliders. And then, second thing is you have to color grade that one. Sir, orange and teal lang ba yung color grade namin? Not necessarily. Kasi pag horror, it's different. If you notice, let me just show you a Netflix movie sa ano yung title nun? I forgot. Ano nga yung The House? Something House? Ito. The Hunting of Hill House. If you have seen this one before, you can see na lahat ng scenes niya, it has this certain color. Ito. lahat ng scenes nila, it's more dark, more, less saturated, more on the orange, more on the blues. So, parang orange and teal lang siya. Just less saturated. Ganun siya. You also have, let's try another horror. The first scene sa Annabelle, saan na ba yun? Horror movie ba to? Okay? Like these scenes, it's gloomy. Whereas, if you were creating something of a comedy style, mas lively yung blue, it's much more saturated. Okay? Whereas in this one, it's less saturated, 'di ba? Hindi masyado pronounced yung colors. And then tingnan niyo yung mga visual aspects niya, like the things in the scene, like the plates, they are all old-fashioned, very gloomy yung color. Okay, there's not much to it other than the color itself, 'di ba? Parang it's gloomy, okay. It's dumb, it's dull yung mga colors natin. It's not vibrant, it's not saturated. Inadjust yung hue. It's more toned down pag horror. Whereas kung comedy naman, much lively, much saturated, is much vibrant yung mga color natin. Nagets ba? Hello? Banguran?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So yun, ang color correction, again, know the difference lang. Color correction is just adjusting all the scenes such that they are the same exposure, they are the same saturation, they are the same all in all. White balance din. Ang color grade naman, it's all about the tone or the tint or the feel of the film. Kasi before I made this project kanina, I was thinking of creating a 3-minute video pa rin, except you have to color grade each one differently. So may dalawang film, may 3-minute film kayo, and then you have to color grade 2 of them. So may isa comedy, may isa horror. I remember seeing a film, eto, I saw this in Facebook. Okay, so this is Harry Potter in different genres. So you have Harry Potter in a drama style. You also have Harry Potter.
Took something out of one of the
Pansinin
vaults.
niyo yung color. It's
was
much
very
different.
secret.
It's lively.
Best not to mention this to anyone, Harry.
Do you know what is hidden in the school at this very moment?
The Sorcerer's Stone.
You will have a cursed life.
I think it
It's
is
much more
clear
action oriented.
we can
I
expect
think there was one
great
here
things from
where
I
it's
can help you there.
horror.
I think I can. Admirers. If you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed.
Okay. Essentially para siyang parang kino-convey na yung editing, it will really matter. No matter what you capture, the editing is what matters. Okay, sa colors nyo, sa hue nyo, sa saturation, sa vibrance ng scene. Okay, that's what matters. Yun. But I've decided na lang, just create 1 to 3 minute video. Ang important lang is that it should showcase the different cinematography techniques, the camera movements, different tricks in cinema. Okay. With regards to the tricks in cinema, let me show you a common trick on how to make cameras disappear in movies. How do they make it? Sige. This is from a famous film. Actually, I don't know the title of the film, pero it's such well known for this scene alone. So I like you to watch
shots in existence, mainly because of how absolutely seamless and effortless it feels.
Okay. So this is the famous
Distance,
mirror
mainly because of
scene.
how
So para siyang isang scene and then it ended up with a twist. So nasa mirror lang pala siya lahat. Ganun. So how did they achieve this? This is a trickery back when they created it. Pero
being superimposed
ano lang pala siya, blue screen.
too, where she runs down the hall.
Same goes for this one.
The mirror. In this shot, she's
kung paano nila hinide yung mirrors for this scene. It's a Hollywood technique din. There's a mirror in the background. So, paano nila na-hide. So, if you'd like to watch the video kung paano nila hinide, just search for this one. How filmmakers makes cameras disappear. Did they recreate? Wala bang salamin dyan? Is that a double, anong tawag nito? Parang double ng actor that are just mimicking what the main actors are doing, ganun. So these are the tricks in cinematography, in cinema. So yun, again, construct a one sentence film idea. I'd like you to DM them to me before the weekend. So gusto ko lang makita yung general idea nyo for the film. And then create a 1 to 3 minute video showing the techniques, the tricks. Assemble your film in a video editor and then edit it according to your chosen genre. So if you'd like comedy, if you'd like horror, then go. Just make sure to color correct and color grade them according to your genre. So comedy, alam niyo na, lively, saturated, vibrant, whereas horror, it's more darker. So this is one short film before we end. 9:24 na pala. One short film. Let me just show you. So yung one-liner niya dito is the story of a door that is impossible to shut once opened. This film shows you the importance of audio kahit wala siyang dialogue. Just hear the sound design of the film. Okay, so yun, the sound design is very, very excellent. Yung chosen ng mga sound effects, the ambience, the lack of sound, the lack of footsteps, ganun. So, ganito yung gusto kong gawin yung video. Just a short film lang, kahit anong topic. Basta nagmamatter yung shots natin, yung techniques natin, camera angles natin, yung sound din pala. I forgot to put in sound.
Sir, question po, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Bali, sir, yung ano po, yung nasa baba po na, the door that, cannot be opened, one shot.
Yes.
Yung po yung, yung one sentence
Yes,
title.
exactly. This is an example of that yung sa first, number 1, na may one-liner kayo that encompasses all of the things that is inside your video. So, ito yung parang naging topic nyo. Ito yung parang naging summary ng video nyo.
Sir, bukod pa po ba yung title dyan or yan na po yung mismong title niya?
Yes. Iba pa
Yan
yung
na po.
title dito.
Ay, iba pa po.
Ito
Okay.
parang ano lang, summary lang. One sentence summary of your film. So just notice the sound design. So choose the background music well.
Sir, excuse me po, sir.
Yes.
Sir, ano lang po, i-restart ko lang po yung Zoom. May tumawag po kasi sa akin. Humina po yung audio nyo.
Okay.
I-restart ko lang po.
Sige. Siya akong favorite student. No? Sana all.
Sir, okay po ata.
Okay, sige.
Ayan, okay na.
Naririnig ba yung music from the video?
Kanina po, sir. Ngayon po
ngayon.
parang wala po.
Teka. Yan. Hindi ko na ako i-unmute pag nag-play sa speaker. Gwapo ka siya sound design yun, be. Gwapuhan niya mag-angle-angle yun eh. Ayan. So, short film number 1 is a story of a door that is impossible to shut once opened. So, it's a horror sa genre. And then notice the colors. Okay, it's more if you notice may vignette siya all around. If you notice also blue yung main color, main hue natin throughout the film. Subdued blue. Kasi tingnan yung face natin, face niya. It's less of an orange, more of a tinge of blue. So, parang nawala yung pagka-natural ng skin color. Yeah. So, overall, it's more on the blue side kasi nga horror. Let's proceed to the second one. This is a 1-minute comedy film, award-winning, titled Toast. Yung one sentence summary natin. A tired, hungry, but determined man tries to make some toast with one major obstacle blocking his path. So, let's watch. 1 minute. Notice this is the sound as well. I'd like to show you this part kasi yung light, okay, the light gives emphasis to the subject. It's nice to make use of lights to emphasize yung mga ganitong scenes, okay. Whereas if you think about it, kung wala yung light na to, parang it would be a dull moment, di ba? It's just watching the toaster, okay. But with the orange light here, it gives more, it contributes more to the scene. And then the choice of music, pansinin nyo, it's much more lively than the first film. Then also the colors, if you can see the colors, much natural siya. It's not more, hindi naman more pronounced yung blue, but mas balance yung naging color ng ano natin, ng overall scenes. And then, of course, if you notice the type of shots he's using, lahat halos close up. Okay, close up ng toaster, close up ng face niya. You also have his face here. You have the wide shot of the bread here, the close up of the fire here. Lahat halos close up. Okay, contributes to the whole message din. Okay. We also have this one. Sige. Let's just play through it. Now, notice naman sa film na to, they are not making use of the rule of thirds when they're showing the subjects. See this one, they are right dead in front the center. Now, why they are not following this rule? It's more common sa comedy to violate or not violate or to not follow the rule sa comedy. Okay, whereas sa film genres like horror, okay, usually it's following the rule of thirds. Then we have the wide shot here, and then of course everything split in the middle, and then everything connected at the end. Let's see. This one naman, 1 minute short film for the stay at home challenge naman. So this is inspired by the pandemic. Horror ba ano di? This one, it's horror. Okay, you can see the creative part yung with the lights here, okay? Think about how she edited this part, okay? She just masked this part right here, nag-glow siya. If you can notice, nag-glow siya, and then parang nilayer lang niya yung likuran dito. Ayan. So that's a creative technique naman. And then with the angles, the close-ups. The sound. Yan. Okay? So that's another horror type. And then lastly, this one, I made this one before. I'd just like to show you kung paano yung magiging, anong tawag nito? Kung ano yung nagiging contribution, kung gaano kalaking asset yung shot types nyo. Because we used a drone here, so it contributes a lot with the establishing shot. So this one, so we use the drone in the establishing, and then once the shot is established na, we switch with the OTS shots. OTS means over the shoulder type of shots. Ganito. So when you're switching back and forth with conversations, usually you have to include the person whom the subject is speaking to. So ganito, OTS. We achieved this one by using two different cameras in different angles. Ganun. Okay. We used some type of close-ups here. Yan. And notice the color changes naman when it's all about like a dream or something that happened in the past. I've used a diffused brown color naman dito. So parang it conveys something that is maybe sad, maybe something that happened in the past, ganun siya. And then the vibrant colors I use for the main main scene. Yan. Different. Here we use different colors din to convey the process or the age, di ba? So parang dito to the left he's old, to the right he's young, and then we use different color to convey the age din na it's been long. Ganun. Then I used a split down in the middle para masabay sila sa screen. Ganun. Sige. So, yun lang for the samples. Again, let's summarize tonight. Read brief history of films and then watch the movie You Go before May 1. And then by May 1, answer the Yugo movie questions before 12 noon. Essay is worth 60 minutes, also worth 20 points. That's 20% already to your grade. Yung ito, yung essay. 60 minutes lang yung validity. And then read up what is cinematography. And then watch the different camera movements. And then watch what's the difference between color correction. How do you do color correction? What is color grading and how do you do color grading or applying that film look into your film. And then we have here the submission for your midterm project due May 5. Just construct a one sentence film ideas like presented here. The story of a door that is impossible to shut once opened. A tired, hungry, but determined man tries to make some toast with one major obstacle blocking his path. Send that to me in Discord or Messenger. Kayo bahala. And then, I'll just check kung ano yung plan. And then, create a 1 to 3 minute video showcasing the different techniques in cinematography, camera movements, and some tricks in cinema. Kayo bahala. Doesn't need to have all of this. Basta may ma-apply lang kayo. And then, assemble your film in an editor. Edit it in whatever. Sorry, good. Edit it in whatever genre you've chosen. Sige. Whatever genre you've chosen. So, kung horror or comedy, you might want it more sa blue side. Subdued blue if you want horror. Or you want it to be contrasty or very saturated. Vibrant. Pag comedy naman. Ganon. And then, upload the video on YouTube. 20 points for the video, 20 points for the audio, 10 points for the idea. Total of 50 points for your midterms. Gets ba? Any questions?
Wala naman, sir. Okay naman. Naintindihan naman.
Intindihan lahat. So again, yun lang naman sa mission nyo. May 1, answer the questions. May 5 is the visual storytelling. May 1 is holiday. Yeah.
Sir, May 5 po yung yung video, no?
Yes, correct.
May 5.
May 5, I think 8 p.m. yung deadline for this one. Let me check. May 5, 8:30 p.m. So, submit it before that one. So, next week, we will have time to show your submissions kung may mag-submit iba. Sige. Any questions before we go?
Wala naman, sir.
Okay. Sige, alright. Any questions, additional questions along the way, message me, DM me lang sa Discord. Okay? Sige. I'll see you guys next meeting next week with your videos. Okay? Sige guys, let's end. Bye-bye.
Good night po. Thank you.
Thank you.